Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Sensei series. Today we're looking at how you can develop your own sound on guitar. I believe the ultimate goal with music is to express something from within you through the art of sound. As much fun as it is to play something that someone else has played, finding your own voice is deeply fulfilling. I want to help you get there. Before we get into it, a quick word from today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creators with more than 25,000 classes and countless topics including music. I personally have found it especially useful for honing my skills on the production side of things. I also have been using it to help me learn German. Ich spreche nur ein bisschen Deutsch, aber ich lerne. Premium membership gives you unlimited access to all the content, and an annual subscription is very affordable, costing less than $10 a month. And the first 500 of you to use the link in the description will get a 2-month free trial. Alright, let's get into it. The first thing I recommend to help you develop your own sound is learn things that you like by ear, note for note. This may seem counterintuitive, but learning another's music is a great way to build a vocabulary. When I'm playing, I'm drawing on a wealth of music that's made its way into my subconscious. The accent that I play with was shaped by all the music that I've digested. The best way to develop this musical instinct is to dive deep into the music that you love. Take a solo, riff, composition, or whatever it is you want to play and learn it inside out. The process for this takes a while, but I promise you it's worth it. Step 1, take the thing that you're trying to learn and listen to it over and over and over again to the point that it's memorized and you could even sing it back. Go piece by piece. You don't need to conquer the whole thing right away. Start with the opening bit, and once you've got that, move on to the next couple bars, repeat until you've got the whole thing down. From there, start working out the notes on your instrument. This shouldn't be all that hard if you've done step 1 properly, and like step 1, take it one piece at a time. Before long, you should be able to play the entire thing. Then you play it over and over and over again. Remember, the goal is not to learn it well enough that you can play it, but rather to learn it well enough that you can't play it wrong. Like I said, this is labor intensive, and my friend, the work doesn't end here. Take some of your favorite parts of the solo and try playing them in different positions across the guitar neck. Then try embellishing and twisting around these ideas, putting your own spin on them. This won't happen overnight, but by the time you get to the end, you'll have built up your musical vocabulary and you'll have heard this so much it will have lodged itself deep in your subconscious. You want to do this as much as possible with different styles, sounds, and artists. Before long, all these influences will mix together to create your own sound. When you do this, make sure you're working on something manageable. If you're struggling greatly at every step of the way, you need to be working on something easier. My next recommendation is to sing. And if you're like me, this might not be the most natural thing, but there's nothing closer to the sounds in your head than your voice. Many of us guitarists often get stuck playing the same shapes and licks over and over again. Singing can help us break out of these boxes. I'll recommend a few things here. First of all, general ear training will make singing significantly more enjoyable for you and everyone else around you. When I first started doing ear training, it was almost like it gave my ears glasses. Everything I heard went from blurry to clear. I've done a Sensei series on that topic. If you want to check it out, I'll link to it in the description. On top of this, try recording yourself, singing along, improvising to a backing track. Listen back and figure out the notes you sang on your guitar. You'll find yourself playing things you never would have thought to before. You can also try singing along to the notes you play on your instrument. At first, you might find your voice is following your guitar. This is fine, but eventually you want them to merge and become one. To get further into singing, you can check out the class Learn Singing Made Easy on Skillshare. There's already 800 people enrolled in it, and it's designed for any skill level. Moving on, compose solos. I'm going to explain this concept using soloing, but really you can compose whatever it is you want to work on, riffs, etudes, whatever. Often solos are improvised, but by taking the time to write out the best solo you can get a better idea of what your voice sounds like without the pressure of doing it on the spot. It's an easy enough concept. Take a chord progression. It can be something you came up with, or it can be something from one of your favorite songs, and write a solo to it. You can start by messing around and experimenting until you come up with a good opening lick. Then work on the next bit and so on, going back and tweaking things as you see fit. Every time you do this, it should sound a little bit better and you should get a bit faster at it. When you've got the best thing you can come up with, record it, put a date on it, and hang on to it. Which brings me to my next point, record yourself as much as possible. When we listen back to ourselves, we're able to hear things that we would never be able to pick up on in real time. I know I've been able to pinpoint things in my own playing that I really like, as well as things I don't like very much. I've made an effort to do more of the good, less of the bad. Everyone will have a different taste for what they enjoy, and by doing this, you'll be shaping your playing in an entirely unique way. Keep your recordings as well, even if you might be a bit discouraged at first. It's great to have something you can look back on as you advance through your musical journey. The recording process doesn't need to be advanced by any means. Even a simple phone recording is enough to do the trick. Next up is experiment with gear. Now, I'll start out by saying that your musical voice transcends any of your equipment. Neil Young is going to sound like Neil Young no matter which guitar and amp combo he's using. Gear is merely a vessel that colors your voice. So instead of going out and buying whatever your favorite guitarist uses, try a bunch of different things and see what suits you. Remember, your favorite artist picked out their gear to best accentuate what they did. You are an entirely different musician, and what best complements you will likely be something different. Last for today, embrace the unconquerable limitations. It's important that we're always doing self-analysis, trying to pinpoint our weaknesses. And to improve, it's imperative that we tackle those things holding us back. If you don't know any theory, have terrible rhythm, need to work on your ear training, musical things like this should probably be dealt with. But there are some physical hurdles that simply can't be conquered. Instead of letting them stop you, find a way around them. Your solution to a barrier that most musicians don't face will lead you to sounds that most people wouldn't come across. The most famous example of this is gypsy jazz great Django Reinhardt, who lost the use of all but 2 fingers on his fretting hand in a fire. Many would have given up at this point, but he relearned to play the guitar using those 2 fingers. He's got an entirely unique sound that many have tried to emulate. A big part of that sound is these weird runs he came up with. Most people wouldn't have thought to have played that stuff, but when you realize he only has 2 fingers to work with, it makes a ton of sense. To wrap up this point, I'll tell you about my personal, inconquerable limitations. First of all, I don't like my singing voice, so when I started a YouTube channel based around covers, I needed to figure out a way to entertain people by myself without singing. This forced me to think outside the box. Videos like playing 5 guitars at the same time, playing Don't Fear the Reaper entirely using iPad apps wouldn't have existed without my hurdle, and any of my early successes can be attributed to this. My other big limitation is speed. I've worked a lot on my technique, and I don't think it's physically possible for me to play as fast as some of the guys out there. If it is, it would take a mountain of effort that I simply don't have time for. So I've embraced that and tried to make up for my lack of alternate picking technique using hammer-ons, pull-offs, but more importantly, phrasing. If I'm not able to awe people with my speed, I'll try to hook them in with an interesting melody. Ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, if you're one of the first 500 people to use the link in the description, you'll get a 2-month free trial to today's sponsor, Skillshare. If you want to watch another Sensei series, hit that link up there. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I've got merch like the shirt I'm wearing over at www.shopsamuraiguitarist.com. An extra big thank you to everyone who supports my channel through Patreon. Until next time, I'm Samurai Guitarist, and I will see you again soon.